Chapter 7, The Miners. In February 1946, Jackie and Rachel were married at a large church wedding in Los Angeles. Soon after, they headed for Daytona Beach, the Dodgers training camp. Rachel was nervous about traveling in the South. She had heard of things that had happened to blacks who didn't watch their step, and even to those who did. 30 blacks had been lynched that year by white mobs who wouldn't bother to wait for the trial. Their flight was almost as bad as Rachel had feared it would be. No one would serve them food in New Orleans, where they had to wait for a connecting flight. The rundown, colored hotel they finally found was so dirty that neither of them could get any sleep. In Pensacola, Florida, they were taken off the plane so two white people could have their seats. Arguing did them little good. They took a bus to Jacksonville, Florida. They had to sit in the back because the front was reserved for whites only. The seats in the back were different from the ones up front. They were more uncomfortable and didn't recline. The ride to Jacksonville took 16 hours. The Robinsons were hungry and tired most of the trip. When they finally arrived, Jackie was 3 days late. The baseball season began in Florida, where white teams had their training camps. Like most southern states in the 1940s, Florida was segregated. Whites were kept separate from blacks, especially when it came to traveling accommodations. Hotels, restaurants, and waiting rooms either didn't allow blacks or had an area assigned to them. Blacks could watch whites play baseball, but only from separate sections. And they could only watch whites play whites and blacks play blacks. Competition between the races on the playing field was strictly forbidden, not only by custom, but by law. Ricky was aware of this, but he couldn't do anything about where spring training began. He did as much groundwork as possible over the winter, talking with local officials to make Jackie's arrival as smooth as possible. The Florida newspapers made it clear that Jackie was not welcomed. They liked their segregated southern ways, and now here he was to change all that. Hotel and restaurant owners said they weren't going to treat Jackie Robinson differently from any other black. The Royals' first game in Jacksonville was canceled. The head of the playground and recreation committee said that whites and blacks could not compete against each other on city-owned playgrounds. In another game, the chief of police walked right on the field and informed the Montreal manager that Robinson had to be removed. To keep the peace, he was. Ricky didn't want to become involved with legal issues in Florida, not if he could avoid it. "I'm going there to play ball, not to live," he said. He did whatever he could to avoid problems. He had Jackie and Rachel stay at the home of a black political leader, but Ricky knew that they would have to take a stand somewhere. The president of the Montreal Royals issued a statement. "It will be all or nothing with the Montreal club. Jackie Robinson goes with the team or there's no game." Ricky knew that Florida politicians were beginning to feel the heat put on them by northern newspapers who were critical of what was going on. He also knew that he had economics on his side. Daytona city officials had acted better than most in making Jackie and the Royals feel welcome. Having the Dodgers spend spring training there every year brought a lot of money into the community. The officials were worried that the Dodgers might go elsewhere. Jackie had so many things to worry about, he wasn't sure where to begin. While the tension swirled all around him, he struggled to concentrate on baseball. He still had to make the team. His first day at spring training reminded him how he had felt his first day of school, nervous and unsure of himself. There were over 200 white ball players on the field, all trying out for the position. As far as baseball playing was concerned, Jackie was just one of the guys. When reporters asked him if he was after the Dodger shortstop position, Pee Wee Reese's job, he told them he was worried about making the Montreal club, not Brooklyn. He wanted to do well so badly that he tried too hard and developed a sore arm. He had to be switched to second, but his arm was too sore to make the throw from there, too. They moved him to first base. Now, on top of everything else, he was making his debut in spring training at a position he had never played before. The exhibition season ended without any proof of Jackie's ability. He was plagued by a sore arm and his hitting was erratic. There was still plenty of doubts about his ability to play in the big leagues. April 18th, 1946, Jersey City, New Jersey. Jackie Robinson was about to play his first game in organized baseball. 35,000 fans jammed Roosevelt Stadium to watch the Royals play the Jersey City Giants. Newspaper reporters were out in full force. Jackie grounded out his first trip to the plate, but in the top of the third, with men on first and second, he hit the first pitch for a 340-foot, three-run home run. In the fifth inning, he bunted, stole second, and went to third on an infield out. With Ricky's instructions to be daring on the bases buzzing in his ears, Jackie pranced off third base. When the pitcher began his windup, he streaked for home, pulled up, ran back, sliding into third just in time. On his third pitch, the pitcher balked and Jackie scored. He singled his last time up and went to third when the ball glanced off the second baseman's glove. Again he was balked home, bringing the crowd to its feet. Jackie Robinson's reputation as the most daring base runner in baseball history was beginning. Jackie and Rachel had grown closer during this tense period. Their difficulties showed them that they were both fighters. Now that they were settled in Montreal, they were able to relax a little. Ricky had not chosen Montreal by accident. Besides being the top Dodger farm team, Montreal was a city where Rachel and Jackie were likely to encounter the least amount of prejudice. Rachel was pregnant, and they wanted to find a nice apartment. They were lucky enough to get a clean, sunny place in the French-Canadian section of the city. The people there had never seen a black person. They were curious but courteous and friendly. The Robinsons loved living in Montreal. The Montreal Royals were a very good team even before Jackie joined, but he provided the fiery edge they needed, and they coasted to the top of their division. The regular season had begun badly for Jackie in Baltimore, the southernmost city the Royals traveled to. Other than ugly incidents in Syracuse, things cooled down once the season got underway. 1 million fans came out in 1946 to watch the Royals play, a new minor league record. By the end of the season, the pressure had taken its toll. Jackie was worn out. He had trouble sleeping, and Rachel was worried. For a while, he actually thought about quitting. The strain of not striking back was getting to him. He talked it over with his family and his wife and decided to stick it out. A doctor he visited ordered 10 days bed rest. With the Royals already on their way to the playoffs, the timing seemed ideal. But Jackie was leading the league in batting, and he was afraid that if he stayed home, people would say he was afraid of losing his batting title in the last days he played. Jackie's 349 average led the league. He had 66 RBIs and scored 113 runs, tied for the top spot. His .985 fielding percentage at second also led the league. He was second in stolen bases and had made bunting into an art form. The Royals were going to play the Louisville Colonels in the Little World Series, as it was called. The series would begin in Louisville, Kentucky. Once again, Jackie Robinson was heading south to play baseball. The Louisville club owners limited the number of blacks who could attend each game. They said they were afraid of racial conflict. Jackie was booed and hounded by Louisville fans. He played badly. The first 3 games in Louisville were difficult for Jackie. The more the fans got on him with their shouts of "nigger," the worse he played. The Royals lost 2 of the first games and headed back to Montreal. Their fans welcomed them back with open arms. They had followed the stories in the papers each day about how Jackie was being treated and had come to show their support. The Royals won the next 3 games in the series. Jackie scored the winning run in the 7th game. It took more than an hour for him to fight his way through the sea of fans who rejoiced at his playing and the team's victory. Jackie Robinson had shown that a black man could play organized baseball and the world wouldn't come to an end.